Well, an expert in Japan is helping people cry for joy, literally. He says a good cry helps rid us of the stress, the fear, longer than a good laugh. And crying doesn't always have a good image, according to Takashi Saga, but some people believe you shouldn't cry in front of other people, a lot of men, because they think it may show weakness.
Laughing, he says, can only release the stress at that moment, but studies show the stress release from crying lasts for a week. Some experts say it's better for your physical and mental health. Some scientific studies even say the tears we shed contain the same kinds of hormones released when the body is under physical stress.
But what does our expert, Dr. Garrett Peel, say about all of this? He's here this morning to tell us a little bit about this. Kind of interesting. So we should be crying over things to help us feel better.
Maybe not so much.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's review things.
Okay.
Human emotions are important. We all experience them.
Sure.
Happiness, sadness, frustration, stress. We know that emotions are connected to our physiological response. So for example, when a baby cries, mom who's breastfeeding, a hormone is released to basically let down the milk, right? That's a classic example.
Sure.
When we are stressed, when we have a lot on our plate, when we can't seem to get our head above water on a stressful day, we know that if we measure the cortisol level in the blood system, it is remarkably high. And we know that cortisol is somewhat of a dangerous hormone systemically. So yes, emotions are connected to hormones and a physiological response. Now, I know that a good laugh is always a good thing.
Sure.
And sometimes a good cry may be a good thing too.
Yeah.
And
Is there
it's-
such a thing as a good cry?
Well, I think that's what the Japanese
Yeah.
are trying to say. In Japan, it is not good to show your emotions. That it's important to be stoic, and crying is actually a sign of weakness. So what they've done through this study is they've trained what they call emotional sommeliers, like, you know, a wine sommelier
Sure.
who says, hey, here's a good wine. This gentleman, or a team of people, gather people in an auditorium and show them movies like Beaches and Still Magnolias and Crying Babies
Sure.
and Funerals of Parents. And at the end, everyone is crying. And this is like a 2-hour kind of workshop. Well, they took a survey afterwards and found that actually people were happier the next 2 or 3 days with their life
Right.
if they had a really good
they
long
let it all
cry.
out. Yeah. a
Okay,
good
now
long
see,
cry.
I get that you should show emotions and maybe be really who you are and not put up this front that
Sure.
you're not, because you're holding things in, you got to let that out. But when it comes to stress, I disagree, because when I cry over stress, I feel less capable
Sure,
of being
sure.
able to handle it.
And as a surgeon,
When I laugh about it, I feel more empowered,
More
I think.
empowered, exactly. And as a surgeon, certainly, every time I get stressed as a doctor, if
You
we
can't
all were
start
doctors
crying.
and
Yeah.
we start crying, we would
People
have
say,
no more
"Oh,
patience.
shoot."
Like,
Shoot, there's
don't
something
go to him.
That's right.
Absolutely.
However, I think this is an interesting discussion. I think that we can be very sensitive to the fact that, yes, emotions are connected to our physiology, and it is important to share your emotions. And that's why you have loved ones and family to be able to share
To
those.
vent and get it off your
Absolutely.
chest.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it's really important. One, if you are stressed and needing help, professionals can help you develop coping skills. And one of those coping skills may be tears of joy.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
go read Still Magnolias and let us know.
Rudy does it for me
Yeah,
every
Rudy.
single time. Okay, well, what are some other ways to relieve? I know working out or doing something physical is a great way
Sure.
to relieve
Rubbing the
stress.
floor.
Activity is always best, and it doesn't need to be going to the gym and putting yourself on a treadmill for
Right.
30 minutes. Moving your body,
Sure.
walking, stretching, yoga exercises at home. There are now new packages on the internet and on your phone that can actually guide you through a stress relief 10 minutes. Sometimes I tell patients to get a squeeze ball,
Sure. Yeah.
or even at their desk, basically do leg exercises and push down on the floor to relieve their stress. Our lives are stressful, and I think it's very important that we find ways to help not only control that stress with our environment, our relationships, but also learn how to cope with them better. It makes for a happier world.
Did you say cleaning? Because that really helps me
Yeah,
get rid
it
of
does.
stress
Cleaning,
sometimes.
yeah.
Just something
Sure.
physical, getting up. And,
Any kind
Doing
of
something
movement
positive.
that is
Absolutely.
positive,
See
because
result.
at the end of the day, you have a good, clean, house.
Exactly.
I'm
and
sure
you
your
feel
wife
a little
appreciates
better.
that, you know?
Well,
Right.
sometimes.
Clean the garage too. That's on my agenda.
That's on my agenda for this
That's
weekend,
right.
actually.
That's
It
right.
is.
And
So
that's the
there
thing
you
too,
go.
I think, is getting outside yourself, doing volunteer work or
Sure.
something where you
Absolutely.
can feel good about yourself.
Yes.
Maybe you're stressed about what's going on,
That's
but
right.
get outside yourself.
Great
I think
And you're able
sometimes
to meet new people and touch each
Absolutely.
other's lives.
Yeah.
That's really important.
helps. All right. Thank
Great
you so much.
conversation. Thanks, Dr. Peel.
You got it.
Appreciate
Have a
that.
wonderful day.
You as well. Let's